So, from Buddha's Eightfold Path, uh, we'll see the next limb is right speech. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I am committed to cultivating loving speech and deep listening in order to bring joy and happiness to others and relieve others of their suffering. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I am determined to speak truthfully with words that inspire self confidence, joy, and hope. I will not spread news that I do not know to be certain and will not criticize or condemn things of which I am not sure. In our time, communication techniques have become very sophisticated. It takes no time at all to send news to the other side of the planet. But at the same time, communication between individuals has become very difficult. The classical explanation of right speech is speaking truthfully. When something is green, we say it is green and not purple. Not speaking with a forked tongue. We don't say one thing to one person and something else to another. Of course, we can describe the truth in different ways to help different listeners understand our meaning, but we must always be loyal to the truth, not speaking cruelly. We don't shout, slander, curse, encourage suffering, or create hatred. Even those who have a good heart and don't want to hurt others sometimes allow toxic words to escape from their lips. In our mind are seeds of Buddha, and also many fetus are internal formations. When we say something poisonous, it is usually because of our habit energies. Our words are very powerful. They can give someone a complex, take away their purpose in life, or even drive them to suicide. We must not forget this. Number 4, not exaggerating or embellishing. We don't dramatize unnecessarily, making things sound better, worse, or more extreme than they actually are. If someone is a little irritated, we don't say that he is furious. The practice of right speech is to try to change our habits so that our speech arises from the seed of Buddha that is in us and not from our unsolved, unwholesome seeds. Right speech is based on right thinking. Speech is the way for our thinking to express itself aloud. Our thoughts are no longer our private possessions. We give earphones to others and allow them to hear the audio tape that is playing in our mind. Of course, there are things we think but we do not want to say, and one part of our consciousness has to play the role of editor. If there is something we think we will be criticizing for saying, the editor will censor it. Sometimes, when a friend or a therapist asks us an unexpected question, we are provoked into telling the truth we wanted to hide. Sometimes, when there are blocks of suffering in us, they may manifest as speech or actions without going through the medium of thought. Our suffering has built up and can no longer be repressed, especially when we have not been practicing right mindfulness. As expressing our suffering can harm us and other people as well. Deep listening is at the foundation of right speech. If we cannot listen mindfully, we cannot practice right speech, no matter what we say. When communication is cut off, we all suffer. When no one listens to us or understands us, we become like a bomb ready to explode. Restoring communication is an urgent task. Sometimes only 10 minutes of deep listening can transform us and bring a smile back to our lips. The Bodhisattva Kuan Yin is the one who hears the cries of the world. Many of us have lost our capacity for listening and using loving speech in our families. It may be that no one is capable of listening to anyone else, so we feel very lonely even within our own families. So many families, couples, and relationships have been broken because we have lost the capacity of listening to each other with calmness and compassion. We have lost the capacity of using calm and loving speech. The fourth mindfulness training is very important to restore communication between us. Practicing the fourth training on the art of listening and the art of loving speech is a great gift. In Buddhism, we speak of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara Kuan Yin, a person who has a great capacity of listening with compassion and true presence. Kuan Yin means the one who can listen and understand the sound of the world, the cries of the suffering. Psychotherapists try to practice the same. They sit very quietly with a lot of compassion and listen to you. Listening like that is not to judge, criticize, condemn, or evaluate, but to listen with the single purpose of helping the other person suffer less. You have to practice breathing mindfully in and out so that compassion always stays with you. I am listening to him not only because I want to know what is inside him or to give him advice. I am listening to him just because I want to relieve his suffering. That is called compassionate listening. If you don't feel that you can continue to listen in this way, ask your friend, dear one, can we continue in a few days? I need to renew myself. I need to practice so I can listen to you in the best way I can. Sometimes we speak clumsily and create internal knots in others. Then we say, I was just telling the truth. It may be the truth, but if our ways of speaking causes unnecessary suffering, it is not right speech. In the Lotus Sutra, a bodhisattva named Wordus Sound was able to speak to each person in his or her own language. For someone who needed the language of music, he used music. For those who understood the language of drugs, he spoke in terms of drugs. Letter writing is a form of speech. A letter can sometimes be safer than speaking because there is time for you to read what you have written before sending it. As you read your words, you can visualize the other person receiving your letter and decide if what you have written in skillful and appropriate. Of course, you have suffered, but the other person has suffered also. That is why writing is a very good practice. Writing is a practice of looking deeply. Writing a book or an article can be done in the same way. Writing a deep practice. Even before we begin writing, during whatever we are doing, gardening or sweeping the floor, our essay is being written deep in our consciousness. You may like to write this piece of paper. As our meditation practice deepens, we are much less caught in words, capable of practicing silence. We are free as a bird, in touch with the essence of things. The founder of one of the schools of has done the same thing. Words and thoughts can kill. We cannot support acts of killing in our thinking or in our speech. If you have a job in which telling the truth is impossible, you may have to change jobs. If you have a job that allows you to speak the truth, please be grateful. To practice social justice and non exploitation, we have to use right speech.